All righty, what's going on, ladies and gents? Welcome back to the channel for another market update. Hope everybody had a lovely day. And with that being said, let's dive into the TA. Guys, the market has spoken. The market wants to go higher. We're going to see what we get. We have a short trading session tomorrow. But I'm going to point out in this video that odds are that we still will be continuing higher. I think the low for this swing down was put in on Friday. I know it was pretty scary, but at the same time, when things are scary, those are typically the best times to buy. All right, so let's dive right into it, guys. First thing I'm going to point out is, we've been pointing out the last few days, ever since it hit our line down here. You see where that line is? It's because we were looking at it that exact day, saying that, hey, downside is limited. We're not going much lower. Every time this is oversold like this, we end up bouncing back. And then every time you get back up to this line, you surpass this and go higher than that line. You could see it right here. You could see it, over here. You went higher. Okay. Then you pull back. Okay. So, I'm going to point out in this video where I do think we're going to be, going. If we pull back after that, that's fine. Okay. But I have a few spots on SPY and QQ that I do think will be hit. And I do want to point out this thing is probably going to get up around here. Pointed out it's going to revert back to the mean. What happens after that is anyone's guess, but it's going to revert back to the mean. We're going to have a sick, nasty bounce to go off of. Okay? So that is that. Over here in SPY, where do I think is going to be tested, guys? 598. I think 590, right here, get above 595.75. I think 597.28 is going to be incoming. And right above there, you do have the 0.618 Fibonacci retracement level right here, 598. This is 598.38. We're just going to call it 598.50. All right. I think 598.50 is incoming. I think the market, suggesting it still wants to be bought up. Whether or not this turns into, just consolidation before move down or not, a dead cat bounce before move down or not, it's irrelevant. We got a sick, nasty bounce to play. Anybody bought the dip when Mr. VIX over here was spiking and then, was riding way up in the sky. We point out even during the COVID 2020 crash, when you got up here on the daily RSI, you then saw it, crush. Okay. You saw it pull back quite a bit. I think it was around 50%. 50%. Exactly. Okay. So when you hit where we just did, all right, you're under it, you're over it. From that point, it went a little higher. Okay. But then it crushed 50%. On that 50% crush, I pointed out what happened with the S&P 500. We can go back to it if you guys would like. All right. But newsflash, you went a little lower. And then from that close, all right, you went 4% lower. But then from that close, you went 5.5% higher over the next 2 to 3 trading sessions. I was thinking we were probably going to get a similar thing over here. Whether that be a dead cat bounce into a lower low or not is irrelevant. We were looking for the bounce. We got the bounce, and now we have some sick, nasty setups to go off of it. I'm just going to say I think this market is going to continue going higher because of how things are setting up. All right. So that is that. I want to get that part out of the way, guys. But, on the upside, in the short term, we're going to be watching above 595.75, which was Friday's high. We're watching 597.28 and then 598.50. Above there, we're watching 602. You get above 603, that's when things get crazy and we could head up to a new all-time high. But we're not going to talk about that right now because we don't know what comes next. What we knew was we were probably going to be getting that sick, nasty bounce. And look at that. You're not bouncing back right from our break and retest zone over here in SPY. Doesn't look all too bad to me. Coming over here to QQQ. What do we got going on? What are we cooking? All right. You rejected the daily 9 EMA, but I am pointing out you're now back above. You got your first close back above the 21 EMA over here on the daily time frame, and you're sitting right there on the 9. We always expect price to dance around these things, get your bounces at these things. As you see, that is no different this time. Again, over here on the weekly chart, we pointed this out on the weekly update. You bounced right over here off of the weekly 9. It was also a break and retest zone over here between 511.45 and 515.58. You came right down to 511.45, and right below you found your bottom. That is that. Guys, we got a very sick, nasty bounce. from the pre-market low over here up into here. Sick. Absolutely sick. All right. One day, almost 4%. That is showing that buyers are willing to step in. I'll point out you have lower volume this week, or well, to start off the week today, you're going to have much lower volume this week because we have Wednesday off, and tomorrow is a short trading session. Everything will be closing at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That means, guys, do not be taking on a lot of risk going into this. If you're in short-dated contracts, all right, they're going to suffer more theta. You know, even the January contracts have started cutting today. Why? Because if things decide to trade flat a little bit and you start taking, you know, a few days of theta, you know, that's going to eat into you. You don't really want one, you know, a week to go by, you're trading flat and boom, 1/4 of your contract is gone. It's not, it doesn't sound appealing to me. It probably doesn't sound appealing to you either. February contracts, if you are going for longs right now, I think that is a safe move. February, March. All right. Going to talk about, you know, a few of the, you know, setups that I find intriguing on the February expiration today at the end of this video. But first, let's finish talking about QQ over here. All right. On the upside, we're watching 524.79 above there. We're probably going to get a straight shot up to 526.72. Then we have 527.80. That is the 0.618 Fibonacci retracement level up here from this whole decline we just saw over here. Intraday. We went lower if you are to, you know, put on extended hours over there. We're not going to count that. We're going to count where, you know, all of the institutions were trading there. Okay. Above 527.80, we're watching 530.61. Get above 533, you go into 539.15 with all likelihood. That is that. On the downside of support, you're watching 519.16, 515.58, and then last resort, 511.45. Guys, if you take out this low, you're probably going lower. I got nothing else to say about it. If it happens, it happens. All right. We've gotten this sick, nasty bounce. I think you are going to get up here to this area, 526.72 to 527.80. I think that's a given right now. But that's just me. It's just my opinion. I can get things wrong. We happen to not be wrong on this, you know, calling for this bounce over here. We're saying over here on this day, downside is limited. Anybody who's, you know, shorting into this is about to get their face ripped off. All right. And although we're not much farther above here, it's safe to say you did not have a good time if you were going short over here after this candle close. You're not having a good time. Come over to IWM, guys. Sorry about that. Take all these things off there. All right, guys. You do still have the daily RSI in oversold territory. You're right above it right now. I still want to say, if you are to come down and make a new low, downside is still limited in my personal opinion, down to around 215. That's going to be where you have the 0.618 Fibonacci retracement from this whole entire move up. All right, from here all the way up to there, where you just start stair-stepping your way up. All right. How did I get that? How did I, you know, use here instead of like down here? Well, guys, see how you made this high? It's lower high. And then you made this low. See how you took out that low? All right. So we're going to start the sequence over here because this is a lower low compared to over here. We're not going to use this low. We're not going to use this low. It's, you know, pretty far down there. At that point, we're going to take the whole one. Well, why did I pick out this one? Because this is the one that took out this. And then ever since then, you've been making the higher lows. So we're going to trace that whole move. This was the sequence that I want to retrace. And that is right down there at 215. Come back down there, guys. Could have a bullish divergence on the daily RSI. Nonetheless, you are going to have an oversold daily RSI. I have to assume downside is limited with that looking like that. On the upside, you're watching 224.66 to 226.64. Above 226.64, you have 230.55. And that is that. Downside, 219.38, 218.07, and then 215. DIA is another thing that, you know, suggests to me we're probably going to be getting further upside. As we saw on Friday, you got rejected by this, you know, original breakout zone over here that you held right over there. All right. You got bought up a little underneath the 0.786 fib over there. Daily RSI is looking just like IWM. Break this downtrend there. Things get spicy. Get above 233.20. Things get spicy. You probably see a quick move back up to 238.04. And then 440. All right. I already pointed out VIX, guys. After we saw this, pretty obvious, you know, this thing wanted to keep selling. All of the other times, once it started selling from having its massive spike, you didn't see it come back up. Once you hit it with the first big red day, all right, you kept going down. It's pretty consistent here. All right, get a big spike. All right, you didn't even get a big red day over here like we were having, okay? Kind of got it up here. Up there. All right, and that was the COVID 2020 crash. Typically, once this thing starts crushing, it just keeps crushing. If the volatility, the fear is going to stay in the market, it's going to keep, coming. It's going to keep getting, exponential there. You're going to keep having these big moves. Once it stops, people start to, realize, hey, maybe the world isn't ending. Maybe this is a buying opportunity. And then that's when you see a crush. That is what is happening. I think we're going to continue lower down here to 15 on VIX. That is that. Now let's talk about some of the big boys. Microsoft. I like how this is shaping up over here. I think you could consolidate under here, underneath the moving averages. Maybe take some time. All right. But in the end, I think you're going to get above it. Get above 441.85. That's where we're watching for 446.75 in the short term. And then we're watching for a move up to 457.26. Which, you know what? We're going to change that level. Then we're just going to watch for 456.16. Current high right there. Current swing high. Meta. I like how this is shaping up. I think this is a nice rebound candidate over here. I understand you closed out pretty ugly. But at the same time, you pull back into the golden pocket from this whole advance up. Kind of a glorious opportunity. Kind of just like this opportunity right over here. We all saw how it went. Pull back to the golden pocket. You got bought up. All right. Pretty aggressively over here. Well, you just fell quite a bit over here. 50 schmeckles. You give a solid shot at recovering some of that. You're going to have the golden pocket. The next one is going to start up at 615. Watch for sellers around there. Okay. It aligns with this horizontal, support. Now it's going to be flipped into resistance. But, you had this little base going on over here. You got this 3-day range, and then boom, you died. So watch 616.89 for sellers to step back in over here if you can get a daily close above 602.95. Goog, I think this is what I'm saying, guys. With how things are shaping up, this market wants to continue on. Wants to continue on up to new highs. I think they're coming. Above 193.31 over here. Sorry, I had an intraday level there. Above 193.31, you can see that first TP level is going to be 196.69. You don't really have much above there, but if I was to put something on, it's going to be 198.69. All right, and above there, you have Mr. Wick over here. The top of that is 202.88. I think this continues higher. You just had your fresh all-time high breakout. I don't think this is done. Come over to Apple. Week number 4 now of the 4-month breakout. Still think it heads higher. Above 255. Next cycle levels are going to be 260 and then 265. It pulls back. It is a clear as day buying opportunity. You can clearly see it reverted back to the mean. It consolidated over here. And then it had another leg up. And I think it's going to be going higher. And that is that. A weekly time frame, you clearly see, all right? Give us a pullback. This is why I think, downside's limited on the market. Even if you sell, I don't think it's going much lower there. I think if you focus on some strong names, I think you can make a lot of money on this next pullback. I really do. I'm not saying just sit there long in the indices because, let's just come back over here to SPY. Let's just look at it this way. Let's say you do reject right here where my circle is. You reject it. You reject these moving averages. You put in this, a little doji candlestick and boom, you start gapping down. You start coming all the way down here. The sky is going to be falling. That's a lot of downside. This thing will be in a downtrend. This thing will look bad. You know what won't look bad? Apple. You know what it will do if the market does that? It's probably going to pull back. You see where this arrow is? That is the weekly 9 EMA test. You have not gotten one in quite some time. You're likely to see buyers step in off of that, and then you could play this move pretty safe right there. That is a $10+ move for you to make some money off of. So yes, even if you fall, I think there's money to be made on this pullback, even though things will look like the sky is falling. I understand. But I'm here to point out what names are going to be having that strength and what is going to be a buy on those pullbacks. I will point out opportune buy-ins on select stocks when I see fit. The most recent was this bad boy motherfucker right over here. Congratulations.
That was easy.
If you have made this, guys, my that was easy button. I got a ghost living with me now. I had one in the old place, but you know, this guy over here. All right, I got really hyped the other day about Nvidia, and the thing went off. And then I posted the chart. The thing went off. Then I finished recording the video. The thing went off. It was like 3 really weird times that it went off without me pressing it, and it was far away from me. And it got me thinking. I was like, I got a friendly ghost live with me, 100%. And I welcome him. He is a friendly ghost. I guess he's a good luck charm. But hey, all right, congrats if you made some money off of Nvidia. We've now hit our 140 target. I mean, you're at 139.79. I started taking off the January cons today. Not started. I took off the January cons today. I'm riding out the February cons. Give me a pullback. Let me see, you know, 136.70, 138. I'm adding on to the February contracts. This guy is going 146.54. This guy's going to new highs above 152.89. This guy's going to 150 to 155. All right, I'll do the math for you. The 140C, February cons, they go 50 to 60% if that move takes place in 1 week. By next Friday, if you see it go from 140 to 150, those will be 50 to 60% guaranteed. That's your math. Okay, so if you're buying right now, there's that. If you end up seeing a pullback over here, 136.70, that is ideal. That is a retest of these short-term moving averages. That is a retest of where you just broke out from. And now, guys, Nvidia is showing strength at this point. Clearly showing more strength in the market. It was showing us it down here. I hope you made money on the clear as day move. We knew to buy in right here at the bottom. All right. Started a day early off of the 0.786 fib there, guys. We knew the buy zone. I took it off right now. Okay, but the buy zone was 131. That's right here. Both were breaking retests. We'll just put a zone on. Congratulations if you played. I'll hit it one more time for you.
That was easy.
There you go. And the video made me a happy man today. There you go. And I do think the payday is it's going to continue coming over there. But I think the safe move here is February cons, because what if this bad boy does pull back, consolidate, all right? And then you're salty that the contracts came down quite a bit there because they only have, you know, now 25 days on them. So what do? You reposition. And then you could ride that out, all right? So, you know, we got that going on. I showed you how I like the other big boys. We got Amazon over here looking like it's probably going to continue up to the highs here. Okay, so, you know, 233 is probably incoming. Bounce off the 21 just like you started finding buyers over here. All right, you didn't see these guys cross down here when they're consolidating like this. When they get close, the 9 and the 21, that blue line and the white line, that means a big move is probably coming. It's just loading, and you got to wait on it. You saw one loading right here. You saw one loading right here. Next leg up. You started coming together. You saw one loan. It was to the downside. Okay. You saw one loan right here. Okay. Well, we have another one loading. I think it's probably going to be a move to the upside with how things are looking across the board. Now, this, guys, this is something I really hope gives me a further pullback. I'll take full advantage of Tesla. 500 is incoming. January, this guy has direct access to the president. I'm seeing online that people are actually like, you know, just conspiracy theorizing that Elon Musk is Mr. President. All right. It is President Musk right now. Now, I'm just going to tell you guys, I don't think that's the case, but I will tell you right now, he was in the family picture with Donald Trump. That is going to be the president for the next 4 years. I can guarantee this company is going to have some incentives from the government. All right. They have big stuff already cooking. All right. So fundamentally, I really like this company, but I'll tell you right now, the chart is also cooking. Fresh all-time high breakout. If you fade this candle, oh my sweet baby Jesus, what is going to happen? I personally don't think you're going to fade it right away, but just in case, I started here. Again, February cons. This thing is consolidating like a wedge. You can see on the 1 hour chart. It's not looking the cleanest. Not looking the cleanest, but you can kind of see what I see. Okay? You can see what I see. Something like that. I don't know. All right. Regardless, it is consolidating. It's right around the daily 9. You've reverted back to the mean. This is where you consolidate around for quite some time over here. It's 3 weeks. You consolidate over here. All right. You've now only pulled back for 1 week here. If it goes back up, I'll be damned. But if it happens, I'm not going to be surprised about it. All right. 488.54 incoming, and the 500 psychological level is incoming. We smacked our target here over at 465. You went a little bit higher. But at the end of the day, you did pull back off of that. And now I think we're getting our next opportunity. You pull back right to the previous all-time high. The low of the day was 415.41. You have 414.50. That shows the strength of down here. You have buyers sitting down here. All right. Expect consolidation, but if it breaks out, do not be surprised. Pullback shall be treated as buying opportunities. I'm all for this guy for the next leg up. All right. Let's talk about some chips, guys. False breakdown over here. We're going back up to test the upper trend line. You know what that means. You get the false breakout, then you test the upper trend line. You're probably going to break out. You come up here, test 253.07, expect yourself to keep going. And that's something like, this is exactly why I think Nvidia is going to keep running here. All right. I think you break 140 over here. You're probably going to test 142. Get above 142.50. We're talking 146.54. That's going to be your key, guys. Because if you're just going to take the whole golden pocket from the whole move down, all right, 0.786 fib is right above 146.54. So the reaction to that level is really going to determine where this thing goes. If you bust up, expect the big move to fall here into new all-time highs. Guys, you get a sea of worry every single time, but you take that trend line right there. We're already watching this one set up right there on the 4-hour time frame. We knew this was top trade going into this week. All right, and now you've broken another trend line. You've broken one more. And what happens if you take this guy over here? What happens if you go something like that? Oh, a big fat bull pennant, bull flag, falling wedge, whatever you want to freaking call this thing. This thing broken, retested off for a breakout zone. This was the buy zone, 127.67 to 130.126. And now you're breaking out of that, big ass consolidation period you had. This thing is getting ready for a big move. I think all-time highs are incoming. I'll call for it. I think all-time highs are coming. I'm here for it. Maybe you're here for it. Maybe we're going to have a good time. Maybe we have a good time. What else is having a good time as of today? Fresh breakout above 206.61. TSM. TSM is looking like it wants to start that big move up to 220. I think it started today. Even though everything else had that lower volume, guess what? This guy popped off and it had the increasing volume. You can see the weekly chart. This thing wants to advance. We're talking 212.60 in the short term, and then 220 is incoming. Shortly after that, you see that big target up there. That's where that bad boy's coming. Inverse head and shoulders breakout. Fresh today. MU, guys, I think this thing wants to break above 91. I think we're heading up to 95.53. I think we have a lot of freaking fuel for SMH to break out. Or at least test that upper trend line. Then we will see what happens. But I think we have a lot of fuel for it to, continue. If it comes up to test 950, not 950, 95.53 to 97.27, expect sellers up there. You're going to have the daily 9 up here. Don't expect you to just bust up through it. If you do bust up through it, hey, that's great. But you're not going to be expecting that because, the odds aren't that that's going to happen. ARM guys starting to make a comeback today. You swept the low over here. I can see this thing pulling back up to 135.83. Not saying it happens, but I'm pointing out you did print a big fat nasty hammer candlestick off of heavy volume down here. Daily RSI is already nearing 30. Okay. I think you have a solid shot coming up here and test the 135.83 in the short term. Take that off right there. Take that trend line off my shot. AVGO, I think you want to push back up the highs. Now, I did shame you guys. I was like, hey, if you guys are thinking of buying this dip, when I just showed you Nvidia, the sexiest chart in the market right now that hasn't even taken off, if you guys really want to put your attention on something that we know is probably going to fall, I shamed you for it. I won't deny it. Maybe you're making money right now. I still stand by what I said. Nvidia is the sexiest chart right here out of all the chip stocks, out of all the big tech stocks. You got Nvidia, then you got Tesla. I think that's going to take some time to develop, but Nvidia is certainly going right now. And today could have been that day, at least for me, to lock in that payday. You got paid, and you're about to get paid some more. All right? But AVGO, I do think it's going to be coming up to 251.88 in the short term. I'm seeing this new term, guys. I'm telling you, I think Trend Spider made it on Twitter. But Trend Spider really, made this thing popular. I keep seeing all these smaller guys keep talking about this stupid power earnings gap. Am I going to have to start calling it a power earnings gap? That sounds stupid to me, but at the same time, I guess that is what it is. But was this term, around before, like, maybe two months ago? No, it was not. I have never heard that term until, like, 2 to 3 months ago. I really did not. Where's another name I'm liking over here? Pull back to the weekly 9. Held the 85.80 support over here. 85.80 to 93.19. That's your break and retest. That's your big, big area right here. You're breaking out of years in consolidation. You want this to hold. If it holds and it comes back up to the new highs, you can expect this move's probably going to happen pretty quick there. There you go. There's a big move that you could be taking advantage of. Right here's the cheap buy-in. You wait for the break above 99.26. That's where you get your momentum stepping in, and you could probably catch another leg up. That's personally what I think is the move here. All right. Right now, you got to see what happens. You really got to see what happens here. You're going to reclaim these things, get above 93.19. That's when I think this gets interesting. Then you probably see a quick move up back to 99.26. All right, let's talk about AMD, the little troll. Little troll we know on this channel. We know him all too well. All right, but I think he might be waking up. And tomorrow's going to be key. Can we see a gap up above the daily 9 here? If so, I think it's waking up. I think we're going to test 132.11 in the short term. That's all I'm going to say here. Your support is 121.83. But if you can get a gap up above the daily 9 here tomorrow, that is your hint that you're probably about to see this thing squeeze a little on up. All right. Let's talk about some setups that I think are key. And before we do that, I'm just going to say Bitcoin. We talked about it. We said, it doesn't make sense what's going on with the miners right now. And now we see why Bitcoin wanted to fade. All right. No one should have been buying up there. You could do whatever you want, but I will share my opinion on this channel. And I said it pretty darn freaking clear. Especially when we got MSTR failing like this. I pointed out on this day right here, this setup should not be failing. This is a very bullish setup here. Bitcoin was at new highs. Why is this thing failing? So there's no reason to really touch this thing. All right. My opinions, guys, what I share on this channel, I put myself on the line. I'll tell you right now, I didn't think it was making sense what was going on over here. And I still don't think it makes sense to play these Bitcoin stocks when I'm shoving, trade ideas right in front of your eyes. Very, very nice ones. I don't think there's a reason to touch this garbage. All right. So I'll just reiterate my opinion there. Why are you going to touch this garbage when I'm showing you so many things that are primed right now? Primed. Coin. Like this is the best one over here and it's dying. You're now underneath the breakout zone. You have no reason to touch this. Don't waste your money. Don't waste your money. The time will come and the time's not right now. I'll tell you guys when it's time. All right. Let's talk about something I very much so do think it's time for. LLY. I really like the look of this. This candlestick setup right here. This 2 candle setup is the same exact that we got over here. Not the same exact. You look more bullish. All right. And you're right here on the moving averages. And you got this trend line. And you got an inverse head and shoulders pattern with the neckline being 846.46. I think you get above 811.35. I think this thing goes pretty quick up to 846.46. You get above there, you start your move. 2 all-time highs. All right. LLY, I'm putting it on your radar. It's turnaround time. We've been talking about this thing since it got down here with the bullish divergence. We actually talked about it right over here because the daily RSI got down to the same exact spot where it got down over here. And then what happened? You went higher for a 10% bounce. And then you came back down to a new low. And it put in a bullish divergence. And we said we are going to buy that over here because that move would bring you right down to this major demand zone. And what happened, guys? You got bought up right from there. And now you're developing in such a beautiful manner. I think this thing is about to snap. About to snap back. You about to have the clap back. I think it's a coming. All right. Next one. I put this on the weekly, weekly update over there on your radar. I put it on the radar when it actually hit this white line at the bottom over here. Not the exact bottom, but you know, you got this bullish divergence here, daily bullish divergence on the RSI. RSI hit a spot where we normally see it bounce back from right over here. That's why I put it on the radar. I said, I don't know if it's time yet. I think downside's limited over here. I think it could build out a base. All right, what is it doing right now? It's building out that base. We're watching it. We got our eyes on it. I think it's just about time to start taking some positions on this. We're talking February calls. I've already done the math on them. Okay. You get up to 75, 73.55. February calls. You're buying around here, anywhere from here up to 63.94. We're talking your 150 to 200% gain right there on a relatively safe expiration. I think this is time to get a little snap back to at least 67.12. From here, get up there. We're talking about 100% on those Feb calls. I'm liking it. I'm really liking it. 65C. All right. So that's what I have for you guys today. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I hope you guys have a great Christmas. All right. There's not going to be a video tomorrow. We're going to have a short, day over there. I'm going to spend time with the family. All right. So, I'm going to not record a video tomorrow. But I wish you guys the best. We might have a Christmas video, but probably not. And I will catch you after Christmas on Thursday. So that's why I'm wishing everyone a lovely Christmas. Enjoy your families. You don't know how long you have with your families. And I want, hey, if you're in a position like that, you know what I mean? And, those are your loved ones. And you got to cherish those moments you have with the loved ones. And I want you guys to be present with those loved ones in these moments. So I know the market's important to us. We wouldn't be doing what we're doing if it's not important to us. But it's time for the market to take a seat on the back burner over the next few days. You go spend your time with your loved ones. And if you're not around your loved ones, go call them and talk to them. All right? I'm sure they would appreciate it. And, I wish you guys a Merry Christmas. And if, you get sad around Christmas time, hey, I understand that too. And we are here. We have this community. All right? And I'm here. And you can DM me over on Twitter if you would want to talk. All right? That being said, I'll catch you all in the next one on Thursday. Peace.